Alright, I figure this will be another half episode where I do a little bit of story time and some other stuff. Basically, for this episode, I'm going to go to the high pool still off the stuff I basically accumulated in the last episode. Go to a vendor. And I might also take some time to fool around and do some other stuff. So let's talk to this guy. So here I basically want to sell some stuff, so give me that nail board.
Go ahead, Charlie 1. You make red leg?
Roger, Citadel Base. But, Doyle didn't make it. He bled out.
10, 10-4, Charlie 1. Bring him home. I'll let his people know.
Copy, Citadel Base. On our way.
Well, someone died in Charlie 1. Most unfortunate. Okay, I got some carbine so I can sell from you. You know, the short belt, it sounds cool, but I don't think it's really cool for this type of game. Where you really need to have the range to hit people. So maybe we're going to get rid of the short barrel. Gonna get rid of those too. I probably should make use of this, but it wasn't, but whatever. Yeah, I picked up quite a stuff. From all my lovely endeavors. I'm not sure we need this umbrella, so let's get rid of that. Alright, there's some stuff done. Can buy some stuff from this guy, but this guy doesn't actually have that very good, good merchandise to buy from. I'm also looking for if I sold ship to this guy, but I don't think I did sell him any shit. So let's go to you. I can afford to buy these. Now I've got plenty of ammo on these guys. Alright, let's go. Transfer some of this stuff to you. You. Alright, well. I gotta buy some more big medical packs for pills here. I also got a skill point to make use of, so I can do that as well. Let's see here. I want to go with a little more computer science, a little more alarm disabling. I'll get that stuff out of the way. So there's our skills, you know, getting mapped out quite a bit. Handguns, energy weapons, all this other stuff. Let's see, what does this all do? So, void traps and attacks, pick locks and improve aim. Luck helps with everything. Get more. Oh, okay. So look at this. you basically get, you know, more skill points and more action points as you increase your intelligence. So that's worth noting. So I can actually see what I get when I actually level this up. So I get more action point like coordination here, more chance to hit with ranged weapons. Do this, I get like, you know, more carry weight, more critical hit chance with weapons base, you know, hit points and stuff. Evasion, vision range, combat intuitive, various stuff. You know, I'm tempted to make Pills the leader of this group. Maybe I'll do that. I'll like go for leadership soon on Pills. Let's go with charisma there. Alright, well, let's get to story time then. So I actually bought all this stuff. Not this, but all these, like, you know, intelligence reports and stuff from, like, the Rangers building. I never actually read them. Figure it's worth doing, so let's still look at it. Alright, so let's hear intelligence report. Investigation into the occurrence of robots in Las Vegas sewers by Ranger Ann Elk continued. Another mystery of the Vegas sewers. While these cyborgs all seem to be unique to the location, they clearly, unmistakably originated from base Cochise, but most differ from the more heavy-duty cyborgs that were found other places, such as Slicer Dicer and Scorpatron, the Freshing Crawler, Steel Reaver, or Silver Strangler. In general, the characteristics of the sewer cyborgs were thus. They were less capable in combat and are less functional overall. They utilized organic materials in their construction. They emulated extant life forms such as humans, crocodiles, and boa constrictors, even though many of those life forms are not native to the desert region and have not been since the war. For this investigation, we interviewed numerous Vegas citizens, including some vagrants who had moved into the now abandoned sewers, which were more easily accessible than previously assumed. An open manhole cover in an abandoned part of Vegas led directly to the sewers. General Vargas' instructions were to include any theory, no matter how wild. So from combining our personal findings and observations in the sewers and eyewitnesses' reports from bystanders and rangers, we can offer the following possibilities. Invasion Force. The most logical theory is that these robots were Invasion Force prepping to take over Vegas, but if so, the sewers make an odd station area, and they had taken no aggressive actions toward Vegas before the Rangers' arrival, other than dismantling Max. Martian Invasion Force. As told to our researchers by Johnny Flatboots, one of the sewer's most colorful inhabitants, the cyborgs were a preliminary invasion force and were not really cyborgs. Instead, they were actually Martian serpentoids disguised as cyborgs. Researching the remains of the cyborg cast doubt on this theory. Dumping grounds. The strange and largely inferior nature of the sewer cyborgs could point to them being early prototypes developed by the base Cochise AI, which the sewer is being used as a dumping ground for unsatisfactory experiments. A buffer force. It is entirely feasible based on the robot's force location that they were meant to be an emergency buffer against threats from the east, such as the Desert Rangers or perhaps the mutants being spawned by Erwin Finster. Programming Error 1. A partial description of the robot's programming revealed a command to clean out all the shit in Vegas. The ambiguous wording of this command was possibly misinterpreted. Programming Error 2. All the robots enter through a single opening manhole, but none exit through it. It is therefore possible that all the robots in the sewer can be traced back to the faulty pathfinding and one missing manhole cover. Because of the limited sources of information available to us, we cannot discount any of these theories as a possibility, except perhaps the Martian Invasion one. Our conclusions, therefore, are that this sea's invasion force, dumping grounds, and buffer force theories all have a roughly equal likelihood of being accurate, but we cannot discount the possibility of programming errors and relatively primitive cyborgs leading to theories 5 and 6. This leaves the final conclusion of this investigation, regrettably, inconclusive. So there's like an intelligence report. Alright, so maybe I'll read about, like, you know, the time in the Rangers and the history of the Desert Rangers at this point. So let's go with General Vargas's My Time in the Rangers. Ranger Simac has asked me to write down my memories of how I joined the Rangers and what it was like fighting our battle against the robots of Base Cochise. Can't say I see the point. He's already got all the details written down in his official history. Why do I need to rehash a story I've already told 100 times before? I have to admit, though, there are some things history books don't tell you. The little things in between the big things. That's where real life happens, not in a damn history book. Alright, Simic, you've talked me into it. Here goes. Chapter 1, Hometown Hero. This may surprise some folks, I suppose, but not all us Rangers are descendants of the original Rangers. In fact, there's less and less hereditary Rangers every year. For instance, I grew up in a little town not too far south of the old Ranger Center. It was mostly Hispanic community, all farmers and sheep herders, and so isolated from the rest of the Waste that I didn't hear English spoken until I was 10. I was a golden boy back home, not for the gun skills I've since grown famous for. I didn't have those yet, but for my talent as a medic, which I learned at my mother's knee. Being the only doctor in town, I learned a heck of a lot more about patching up bullet wounds once I joined the Rangers, but even back then I knew enough meatball surgery that I was always picked to come along as a scavenging and hunting trips in case of an accident or attack. For a long time, our little town was a pretty peaceful little place, but then one day, a band of raiders found us and decided that what was ours should be theirs. They surrounded us and demanded we give them every last bit of our salvage and our livestock, and our children. When we refused, they came in, guns blazing. Our people were cut down like tall grass, and I was planning to go die bravely with all the rest. My mother, however, had other plans and chewed me out royally, saying that staying and dying was selfish heroism when we could save lives by rescuing others and leaving. So we gathered as many kids as we could find and escaped with them and a few other adults. It felt strange to be running like cowardice, but if we stayed and fought, we would have died and those kids would have become slaves. So I did my best not to feel guilty. But the guilt hit hard once we got those kids to the next town, and my mother died. Turned out she'd been hiding a gunshot wound the whole time. I think I must have gone crazy with rage after that. The problem was I didn't know who I was mad at. My mother for hiding a wound, myself for not seeing that she was hurt, the kids we rescued for slowing us down, or the raiders who shot us in the first place. In the end, I decided the raiders would be the easiest to take revenge on, so I set out with some of the other survivors to hunt them down. It was while me and old Joe Thomas, Pops, and Susie were tracking down raiders that I acquired my old nickname, Snake. I could tell you how, but I won't. A man's gotta have some secrets, particularly when the story isn't as interesting as the name. Anyway, we didn't stay together very long after we found the raiders and blown them all to Kingdom Come. There just hadn't been much of anything keeping us together except our fixation on revenge, and when that went away, we each went our separate ways. Me, I drifted for a while, thinking I'd do one thing, then thinking I'd do another, but not at me that my revenge on those raiders hadn't given me satisfaction. My town was still gone, my mother was still dead, I was still lost, and I decided in my youthful naivety that maybe what I needed to do was kill more raiders. And the best way I knew to do that was to become a Desert Ranger. So there we go. There's part 1. Chapter 2, From Stranger to Ranger. I walked up to the Ranger Center not knowing what to expect. It wasn't exactly an inviting looking place, which figures what with it being a prison and all. But the Rangers were friendly enough, and I soon learned it wasn't too hard to become a Desert Ranger. If you could shoot, understand orders, and follow them, that was good enough, and if you could patch up wounds to drive a jeep or work a radio, even better. You got your Circle Star badge and your hat right there on the spot, no questions asked. And if the latter turned out to be an untrustworthy son of a bitch, who was using the star and a Desert Ranger name for his own personal gain, well, I just shot you, and that was that. Pretty much the same system we have today, now that I come to think of it. Anyway, like I said, they welcomed me with open arms, partly because I was a good medic and a good shot, and partly because they were pretty short-handed at the time. Ha, that hasn't changed much either, has it? I guess it never does. Since the end of the world, bad guys have always outnumbered the good, and there's never a lack of wrongs for us to right. Training was mostly learning how to shoot people, rather than how to deal with conflicts in a peaceful manner. We didn't even learn a code of ethics to abide by. Hopefully that's changed now. Don't get me wrong, a bullet is often still the best answer to a problem, but it should always be the last as well. I met my future squadmates pretty early in the training program, each with a sillier name than the last. Angela Death, Hellraiser, and Thrasher. Honestly, we didn't get along that well at first. I found Angela's brash manner and constant joking grating. Thrasher just seemed like an angry, ordinary bull, and Hellraiser didn't seem to have any self-control at all, in combat or out. I don't know if we would have stuck together at all if not for Sergeant Dalton, who recognized early on how well our skills matched together. My tactics and marksmanship combined with Thrasher's toughness and brute strength, Angela's uncanny ability to smash past locks as well as hold her own in any fight, and Hellraiser's berserker combat style and desert survival skills made us into an unstoppable fighting unit. And it was that recognition that we fit together so well that I think eventually made us friends as well as squad mates. I thank Dalton to this day for forcing us to stay together through rough patches at the beginning. I wish he lived long enough to see what we've made ourselves now. Sadly, he died on patrol, leading another band of new recruits, just before I made captain. Damn shame. For a while, the four of us just lived the daily grind in the Desert Ranger, scouting and forging missions, patrolling our territory and checking in on the towns and farms under our protection. But then, way before we were ready, something serious came along. It started as just another patrol, making the rounds to High Pool and AG Center, but what followed was making of us. Though there were several times along the way that it would have been the breaking of us too. But like I said, I'm not telling that story. You can read about that in Simon's history book. Instead, I'll tell you what happened after. So chapter 3, walking back and going forward. So, have you gone and read Simic's history of how me, Angela Death, Hellraiser, and Thrasher and the Gold Ace killed all the robots, blew up base Cochise, and saved the world? Pretty exciting, huh? Good ending, too. Neatly tidy, wraps everything up in a bow. The bad guy's dead, and we all live. Beers and happy times all around. Well, like I promised you, I'm going to tell you bits that didn't make it into history. Like how the trek back to the Ranger Center nearly killed us, and how it led to us moving to our new headquarters. We didn't really want to walk back to HQ, not after getting the crap kicked out of us by robots for a day and a half. Unfortunately, Chopper wasn't in any kind of shape to fly us back, and we really didn't have any choice. We started marching. It wasn't easy. There were still plenty of killer robots wandering around, and plenty of other baddies who were come snooping in the afternoon, hoping to pick up some fresh salvage. Tired as we were, we had to fight through them all. Vax was a lifesaver here, taking point in every fight and soaking up a hailstorm of bullets. Then, once we got within a stone's throw of Vegas and he saw we were in safe, it turned around and walked into the desert, and we never saw him again. Damn shame. Only robot I ever liked. So apparently Vax was a robot that helped him. I'll have to read about the history and all that. In Vegas, we rested and restocked his Baron Bygrove's place. He welcomed us with open arms, and why shouldn't he have? Now that he'd taken care of his cyborg problem for him, the last real obstacle to him crowning himself King of Vegas was gone. We smoothed the road for him, and he was grateful. At the same time, even as we rested and celebrated with him as men, it is clear that we would eventually come into conflict, us being on opposite sides of the law and all. Still, he wished us well when we left for Needles, and I think he meant it. Everywhere on the road, we saw signs of Wasteland's continuing struggle. One is going to see what that is all about. Alright, I'm back. Dinner's getting ready, so that'll be happening soon, but whatever. I still have enough time to read the rest of this stuff, so let's get to it. Alright, so everywhere on the road we saw signs of Wasteland's continuing struggle, with the robots and mutants that had brought us north. People think that the Rangers blew up base Cochise, and that was that, but 100 anonymous struggles followed. Traveling mercenaries fighting refugee mutants from Darwin Village, to police and Needles fighting cyborgs, even raiders fought these threats. It took years and years, but added together, all these minor skirmishes made the Waste the relatively safe place they were today. A few days on, we passed the Guardian Citadel, and had a look to see what was worth looting. I don't remember which one of us first came up with the idea of taking it over, maybe Ace, but who knows. It seems like a pretty obvious idea. Looking back at it, it was secure, self-sustaining, and well stocked, and a damn sight more comfortable than the old prison. What more could a Ranger want? Our return home was not exactly a beer and sausage affair you might have expected. I won't deny our destruction of base Cochise was key winning to robot war, but as I said before, it was far from the only battle in the war. Nor were the robots the only threat we were facing at the time. There was also Finster's mutant nightmares, some of which had actually managed to breach the walls of Ranger Center, leaving many of our brave brothers and sisters dead. So it was a pretty somber homecoming. It also seemed to me like proof that the Rangers urgently needed to move to a more secure location, and so I went to General Sergiu and told him about Ace's idea to move into the Guardian Citadel. Unfortunately, though he was a good man and a solid dependent leader, he was not exactly a visionary, and though I did my best to point out all the advantages of the plan, he refused, saying the times were too unstable and a hasty move was too risky. Angela, Ace, and I kicked up a ruckus like the young hotheads we were, but the old man didn't budge, and so did the Rangers. Finally, however, time and age did the youth, and impatience could not, and General Sergiu retired. In the meantime, I've been climbing the ranks and taking on more and more responsibility, and when he finally stepped down, I stepped in to take his place. We treated the old man with respect he was due, but didn't wait too long before organism moved to what is now Ranger Citadel. And I don't think anyone can question the decision now that we are here. We are now more secure, better positioned, and stronger than we were before. Okay, Cymac, I'm done. It might have been boring, there may not have been enough fighting, but that's what real life is like. It might not be interesting, but there's always more to the story than just they won, they moved to a new home. Alright, so, that's nice. Let's read a little bit about the history of the Desert Rangers then. And was that my cell phone? Yes, lots and lots of disruptions and such, but whatever. Alright, so, the history of the Desert Rangers by Ranger Cymac. What comes after the end? The story of the Desert Rangers begins at what many would have called the end of the human history. After the nuclear blast changed the face of the world forever and left human civilization with scars that would never heal. But humanity's resilience is its defining trait, and it should surprise no one that pockets of survivors survived the nuclear holocaust. I say pockets speculatively, and some would call me a fool for doing so. For though rumors persist of mutants being cured and turned into humans in Florida, these are obviously fairy tales, and a century since the nuclear war, we here in the Arizona Waste have heard no credible reports of others surviving outside our lonely stretch of desert land. It is therefore fair to assume we're the only ones left. Alright, so the history of the Desert Rangers, who are we? The Desert Rangers started as an Army Corps of Engineering battalion who were deep in the Arizona deserts constructing roads and bridges on that fateful day when the bombs fell. Their isolation saved their lives, but could do nothing for their frightened, broken hearts. One can only imagine the horror they felt as they listened to reports of their home cities and states being obliterated one after another on their radios. The engineers did not know how or why nuclear war happened, no more than we do today, but their supplies, military training, and knowledge of the region gave them advantages over their fellow survivors during the apocalypse and the chaotic years that would follow. They commandeered a nearby federal prison, being welcomed as saviors by the few remaining prison guards, and a show of mercy they might have perhaps been better if tempered by wisdom. The Rangers freed the prisoners into the desert. Why? Perhaps they felt that the apocalypse had already killed enough people. Perhaps they simply didn't want to waste ammo it would take to execute them. In any case, the prisoners survived, which led to a vital mix of survivors all living together in the Wasteland. Isolated farming communities, scientists from secretive research facilities, citizens of small towns just looking to get by. But the opposite them were not just the rapidly mutating monsters of the desert, but equally much as humans, cultists, and cannibals. Many of these threats were from the original prison population, as well as the formerly law-abiding citizens who saw the end of the world as an excuse to ban all civilization's constraints. Faced with such villains, and the army engineers could have hidden in the prison and lived only for their own survival, but they did not. Hearing the cries for help coming from the distant radios, they invited many to join them behind their strong walls. They aided others, more established towns, helping them build walls and protect their homes, training them in the arts of defense and war, and helping them develop into strong, stable communities. Alright, so, and then History of Desert Rangers by Ranger Cymac, Finster, and Cochise. Armed with this information, the Rangers marched off to the end of the cyborg menace, but it wasn't going to be as easy as walking through Base Cochise's front door. To fight the androids, the Rangers were going to need more and better equipment. To that end, they explored another old facility known as the Sleeper Base, where an automated training program taught them how to fly helicopters. From there, they traveled to Darwin Village, yet another ancient military facility. To their horror, they found another major threat to the waste here, as the former director of the facility, an insane cyborg by the name of Erwin John Finster, was creating dangerous mutated creatures that he hoped would inherit the planet once the cyborgs and the dangerous plague he developed had wiped all of humanity out. Unable to reason with Finster, the Rangers decided to end this threat before it truly started and destroyed him and the base. Soon after, the Rangers learned that the keys that would allow them to enter the base Cochise were held by a dangerous xenophobic sect known as the Guardians of the Old Order, who were obsessed with preserving technology and keeping it out of hands of the common people. When the Guardians responded to the Rangers' request for keys with unnecessary force, the Rangers assaulted their fortress, the Guardian Citadel, a massive facility built into the side of a mountain. We now call the place Ranger Citadel. So these guys were like the previous inhabitants before the Rangers moved in. In the end, Hellraiser, Angela Death, Thrasher, and Snake Vargas battled their way to the Guardians' inner sanctum, uncovering a cache of power armor and a functional attack helicopter which they flew to base Cochise, wiping out all the android patrols sent to destroy them and laying on the roof. Inside the base, they found a malevolent computer known as Base Cochise AI, mass-producing the robot Scourge. The Rangers tricked the AI into creating an administrative robot that they named Vax, and with Vax's help, they dismantled the robot making machinery. But knowing that the base would eventually repair itself, that they only stopped the robot's horde temporarily, they plunged into the heart of the base Cochise and fought through the gauntlet of mechanical malice to start a chain reaction of explosions that would finally wipe the base off the map. So that basically ends, like, you know, base Cochise and what basically happened there. I think at this point I can sell some of this crap that, you know, I've been holding along to stuff here. So that's all gone. Alright. Now, at this point, I think maybe I'll go check to see... You know, I could brute force this open now, so I might as well. So I think I'll go with lockpicking first. If I can lockpick it, great. If I can't, that sucks, but oh well. So failure. Basically, I want to lockpick with him to try and get his experience up for opening it. Better than, like, you know, brute forcing it open. Alright, failure. As long as it doesn't critical failure, I'm pretty good, you know, in this failing over and over like this. Yeah, there's really nothing over there to really worry about. Hey, there we go. There's a Rubik's Cube in there. So that's pretty much junk in there, so nothing really, you know, to bother me about if I had, you know, failed to get it. You know, I'm tempted to go in here and like, get a dowry, because I can. Basically, I have that option of, like, you know, the Ballad of Bobby and Rex. You know, I can always read more stuff. So what's this all about? The Ballad of Bobby and Rex. Sheet music from the guitar tabs. Rex, sweet Rex, why did you have to go? Everything's a Ranger's Rex, and we miss you so. Bobby, Bobby dear, why did you have to go? The Rangers slayed you here, and we miss you so. In the night, the sweet sounds of cheerful, happy barks, the Rangers shot our hounds, and silence ruled the dark. Innocents, oh shed a tear, they do not care to evil men. They come again, bringing fear, just like they did back then. Compassion is the Rangers' call, necessary evil their creed. But they pity not the small, heed not their words, but their deeds. To their graves were they carried, friends together for all time. Bobby and Rex now lay buried, killed by Rangers for no crime. And that's about, of course, the dog they killed. Yeah, if I want, I can go over to this now if I want. Try safe cracking it. Look at that. So what's this? J. Bell, I lost your dowry in a card game, my bad. I have a sure bet to get it back. Be back soon, Dad. So that's cool. Kinda glad I opened that up now. Let's go see if she cares about, you know, learning about this little fact. Yeah, about your dowry, we found a note in the safe. What? What note? That's not possible. Oh my god. Oh my god. Rangers, I can't live in this world without a proper husband. I can't survive. Oh my god, Rangers. I need to find and return my dowry. Help me, Rangers. You're my only hope. Will you please help me? Okay, sure. Thank you, Rangers. Bless you, my valiant knights. My father never let me see it, but he said he graved it with my crystals when I was born. He always said it was beautiful as it was. That's all I know. Well, that's great, but, you know, not as helpful as it might have been. So Jessie Belly's father lost her dowry while gambling, and she would like us to get it back. Whenever possible, she says he engraved it with her initials when she was born. Hopefully the people who won it still have it. So that's good to know. So it's actually worth picking that safe, because, you know, it's got some important stuff in it. And of course, there's another safe to pick over here, I guess. Hey, look at that, more stuff. Yeah, this is getting experience or cold eye to basically make use of. That's what this is all about. And you know what, I should probably buy burst fire with the assault rifle at some point, because I've got plenty of ammo to waste for, you know, seeing what it's all about. I suppose we can go into back over here, have a look at the safe over here. Let's pick this safe. Look at that, some more stuff. So how are you doing on your experience? Look at that, he needs 2 more experience and he'll level up. Bear's a little bit farther down the line, but you know, she'll get there too. I'll probably go pick some stuff in the aqueduct, other stuff like that. Don't know at this time, I'm thinking about dinner at this point, so what I'm probably going to do at this point, I'm going to go up to the doctor, I'm going to basically sell off anything that's, you know, not needed to myself. And then after that, we'll probably go visit the aqueduct after that to see if there's anything in there to pick out. I'm pretty much almost done with the AG Center and High Pool though. Not too much left to safe pick or anything like that. Cool. So I'll go heal up. And yoink. Now let's go quickly to the store guy here.
Rangers.
Sell off the crap I don't need here. You know, I don't think I need to have 2 of these, so we're just gonna get rid of this one. Get rid of that short barrel because I don't need that either. Yeah, there's lots of stuff in here. Okay, there's the pig salt, or pig shit, so I'm actually gonna buy his back. Pet rock. Yeah, I'm buying the pig shit because I can take that over to the Ranger Citadel to basically sell there, perhaps. And apparently you don't sell medical supplies. Shame. Oh well. It's actually not strength to actually equip some of this stuff.
Hey there, Rangers. Good to
Stronghold.
see you. How can I help? Oh, that's great news. You're the best, Rangers. You're the reason High Pool is still here. You deserve some serious thanks, but all I can give you is a little reward. I bet it'll be handy in your line of work. So long, Rangers. Come back again anytime.
So they gave me a grenade. I'm good with that. Grenades are fine. Alright, well I think this will be it for this half episode. What I'll probably do next time is I'll just go explore the, like, you know, the AG Center or this right here to see if there's, like, you know, any loot to get. This guy's almost got himself up to be, like, you know, another level, so I'll be able to get a little bit more safe tracking going. Once I get that, go from there a little bit more. So for now, I'm gonna say this is it for now. I hope you enjoyed the story time. Take care.